Hello, and welcome to our channel. At the conclusion of 2020, a year that devastated main streets everywhere, data showed that US new company formation was rising. Despite increased expenses and supply chain instability, the trend continues into 2023. New enterprise fell during recessions. Despite a global pandemic, US new business formation surged in the third quarter of 2020. It soared. Almost 500,000 new enterprises were founded in July 2020, nearly double the year before. Since then, monthly firm formations have exceeded 400,000. Why now? Numerous hypotheses explain why entrepreneurial spirit is peaking during a moment that almost crushes it. Perhaps resilient entrepreneurs, hardened by suffering, are seeking chances created by a nearly decade-old civilization. The previous 3 years have reinforced them. Shopify president Holly Finkelstein has called 2023 the year of the entrepreneur. Why did the pandemic spark entrepreneurship? When we support the underdogs, they win. Entrepreneurship thrives. Entrepreneurship is mainstream. Social media is full of messages encouraging dreamers. Despite these stunning highlight reels, entrepreneurship has been declining for years. Unfortunately, big businesses have continued to solidify their control. These giants profited most from the crisis. The pandemic accelerated the decline in active enterprise. A US population study found 3.3 million companies closed in February 2020. Once lockdown restrictions loosened and government help was given, businesses reopened, but the damage was done. By July, permanent closures outnumbered temporary closures, and by September, the gap had grown. Blue sky turned grey, with few silver linings. The most vulnerable communities were particularly pessimistic. The epidemic impacted BIPOC Black, Indigenous, and people of color populations hardest, worsening the American healthcare gap. The financial system's flaws were revealed when BIPOC-run small enterprise were the last to get government help. Suddenly, 41% of Black-owned, 32% of Latino-owned, and 26% of Asian-owned firms closed between February and April 2020. As the epidemic hit, business owners already burdened by unfairness and financial bias suffered much more. Stanford lead research analyst Molly Norroz co-works extensively with Latino entrepreneurs. 86% of these business owners experienced pandemic-related losses by March 2020, according to her findings. She said Latino-owned firms faced enormous difficulty due to reduced access to relief loans and a higher representation in pandemic-affected industries. Molly also discovered that the same group's hope for the future remained strong. Not alone, entrepreneurship persisted despite hardships. Successful entrepreneurs love change. Data anomalies contradict rolling lockdowns' destruction. American business applications surged at the end of 2020, and the third quarter broke records by 48%. This breaks a 4-decade tendency of falling applications during times of crisis. In 2009, about 100,000 fewer employer enterprises were formed than in 2007. Disruptors also benefited from early recessions. The 2008 recession spawned the next generation of companies. Was that an omen? Retail dominated 2020 new business applications. More telling is that non-store retail e-commerce stores thrived in that industry. Online buying became more necessary, and technologies to help firms sell to these new clients rushed to market. This dramatic change in consumer preference met a quickly rising industry, creating opportunities that helped fuel contemporary entrepreneurship. Lockdowns and isolation led to new online retailers, home fitness, balcony gardening, and subscription fundamentals. People have reoriented what's important to them, says Dr. Elspeth Murray, Director Centre for Business Venturing at Queen's University in Ontario, Canada. And there are many new business opportunities. Several theories exist. Shopify VP of Product Satish Kanwa believes trust is crucial. People made a fulsome turn in their thoughts from trusting that everything they thought would always be there will continue to be there tomorrow. He says, the epidemic and generational erosion of system trust have disrupted the status quo. This inspires self-starters. There's this explosion of new technology, creator tools, and democraticity in entrepreneurship. You see change everywhere, adds Satish. Entrepreneurship is now possible. Entrepreneurship's new class data provides a crucial overview. Some totals cannot tell all stories. 4 founders describe how they are handling this moment with grit and determination. Jemil, Communal Power. Afropic co-founder Jemil Walker says they never considered starting during the pandemic. He and his brothers started selling artist-designed pics early in the pandemic. They represent Black solidarity and strength. The epidemic slowed their ambitions, but it also forced them to find new ways to engage with their community, boosting their entrepreneurial spirit. Launching during the pandemic was ideal. Jemil feels the 2020 civil rights movements were a good moment to promote communal solidarity and self-identity. Michael and Rachel. Opportunity from uncertainty. Michael Sturber and Rachel Duguay did not establish their business in 2020, but they went all in. The pandemic forced the pair to quit their theme park careers. Micropuzzles was their apartment-based side business from 2018. Store closures hurt wholesale and custom sales too. Michael calls it dismal. We had time to build the website and product line. We switched to online retail by March. The partners' sales increased since the product was great for isolation-induced boredom. Michael thinks the pandemic made people reassess priorities and spending. Supporting small businesses has increased. Micropuzzles moved from an apartment to a warehouse office in 2020. Michael says, "We won't return to our prior jobs." Jasmine. Adapting. Jasmine Maeta played and coached pro basketball before leading fitness brand marketing for 20 years. Her new venture, Round 21, brings her full circle. In 2020, Jasmine debuted her table tennis company, introducing a game she described as cultural glue in locker rooms to the masses. Her audience want at-home entertainment. Jasmine saw basketball nets were being removed from playgrounds in 2020. We wanted to provide people methods to still find joy in playing together, safely from home, she explains. We intensified R&D and launched new Round 21 mini hoops. Jasmine self-funded till January, including a successful crowdfunding effort. There seemed to be a greater than ever desire for all of us to have self-expression and connection through play in our daily lives, she says. Round 21 now sells footballs, basketballs, and FS in 2023, partnering with the WNBA. Recovery path. The plague devastated, but social movements reckoned. Communities have mobilized, technology and tools have advanced, remote work has connected us, and consumer habits have forever changed. Consumer expenditure fell in early 2020 but rose 22% by February 2023. Between March 13 and April 24, 2020, Shopify brick-and-mortar store owners saw a 71% drop in sales. Online channels helped those small enterprises recoup 94% of lost sales. Retail revived in July, with many brick-and-mortar retailers offering curbside pickup and local delivery. New foundations are settling. The New Economies Foundation. The epidemic created a generation of ingenious and entrepreneurial disruptors. Independent future recession-era startups tend to fail. Are we over-optimistic? Numbers show this time is different. What's next? Nobody knows. We've moved on. 2020 caused a lasting consumer mindset shift. 2023 sees record business formation. Small business support is rising. Satishads, people are understanding, if I don't do this, my neighborhood will be a wasteland. If I don't find independent businesses, they'll die. This isn't just the funky hipsters shouting shop local, adds Shopify board member Toby Shannon. The Lockerville movement will become mainstream. Main Street's community-level entrepreneurial spirit and new technology and funding open new doors for all types of businesses. Businesses must adapt to survive. Jasmine argues smaller, more nimble enterprise with a diverse product or experience mix will prosper and be able to mitigate external factors. Satish buys local sourdough bread online. He thinks that's one example of North America digitizing local business, which mobile-first countries like China have already done. He predicts its permanence. It draws you closer to your neighborhood and offers great convenience. Companies that quickly cloned local community spirit online and adopted tools to make it easier are poised for the future. Toby argues governments and private sector groups have been politically and economically antagonistic for the past 2 centuries. He believes COVID has shown that civil society communities have a seat at the table. This year has shown that these three entities are symbiotic. Communities without companies just aren't communities, says Toby. Closing Main Street is a national disaster. He thinks the three must cooperate to succeed. Against all odds, this entrepreneurial spirit is driven by multiple factors. It began as necessity and passion, found life in opportunity, and strengthened in community support. Undoubtedly, new business growth warrants optimism. The real humans behind the Data Jazz minds, Michaels, Rachels, and Jemils, will use this optimism to construct the new frontier of entrepreneurship. Thank you for watching, and remember to let us know what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe.